It's almost like they push other people's buttons to annoy them, to cause them to lash out at them, to cause them to set boundaries with them, to cause them to say something negative to them. All of that they bring about in order to get others to confirm that they're a failure. So let me go into more detail now on the characteristics of somebody who has failure as their default setting, who therefore sabotages success, who failure has become a prison. Reluctance to seek pleasurable activities because I don't deserve it. An encouragement of others to exploit or take advantage of oneself. So it's almost like you put yourself out there for others to use you, to others to walk all over you, others to exploit you. You offer your services to people you know that are going to use you. You focus on your very worst features. So if people were to ask you about yourself, your focus would be all the negatives. You have a tendency to sabotage your good fortunes. You have a deep shame. I am not good enough. I am less than. I am a failure. And with that, for most people, is what we call the imposter syndrome. I am a fake. What you see, all the good stuff, makes me an imposter because it's not how I really am. Then most have a deep anger at themselves. They may display anger externally at others, but a lot of their anger gets directed inward at their self. And that means that often they have a second default setting of anger and a third default setting of guilt. Always feeling like they have screwed up badly, they don't deserve a good life. Next one is they obsess over small failures. So they do something embarrassing, they make a little mistake, and then their brain obsesses and obsesses about that for days. Then there's a lot of fear. Fear of getting their hopes up. We talked about that. Fear of getting hurt whenever they enter a new relationship. Fear of failure whenever they try a new job, a new project. Constant fear at a job of being fired, of being called on the carpet, of being exposed as inadequate. Fear of trusting anyone. Fear of not being in control of everything. Fear even of success, because success involves change. Success involves new territory where you've never been before, the unknown. And so you don't know how to live there, and you're afraid you're probably going to fail. So, as someone has said, it's better to live in the hell I know than the paradise I don't know. So let's sabotage it and go back to the hell I know. Another characteristic of this failure as a prison is an inability to sit in uncomfortable emotions. As soon as you get in uncomfortable emotions, you go, I can't stand this. I can't stand this. I can't stand this. Let's go back to something familiar that I know how to handle. Let's go back to failure and pain. This person magnifies their failures and minimizes their successes. They choose people and situations that lead to disappointment. Now, they do this often subconsciously. They choose people that are going to let them down. They choose situations where they're going to fail, where they're going to be mistreated. There's all kinds of better options available, but subconsciously they pick the ones that are going to reinforce this failure. They reject or make ineffective the attempts of others to help them. So they're very resistant to good help. Following positive personal events. So some new achievement, some accomplishment. It's like they have this hangover afterwards where they're depressed, they feel guilty, they feel they don't deserve it. And sometimes they engage in behaviors that produce pain, that sabotage the whole thing. These kind of people often, without again realizing it, incite others to get angry at them, to hurt them. It's almost like they push other people's buttons to annoy them, to cause them to lash out at them, to cause them to set boundaries with them, to cause them to say something negative to them. All of that they bring about in order to get others to confirm that they're a failure. They reject opportunities for pleasure and are reluctant to acknowledge enjoying themselves. Part of them, they don't deserve pleasure. Part of them doesn't even want to admit when life is going better. They are not interested in people, or they reject people who treat them well. So as soon as somebody treats them with respect, treats them with helping them, caring for them, nurturing them, they reject that person. They don't want them in their life because they don't deserve it. They work below their abilities and their potential. They fail to accomplish tasks crucial to personal objectives despite demonstrating the ability to do so. So they show they know how to do the job, they just don't do it. Something keeps them back from accomplishing the very things they need to accomplish. They avoid or undermine pleasurable experiences. They reject opportunities for pleasure and reluctant to admit that they enjoyed themselves at something. So again, pleasure is a very frustrating, confusing thing for them that they just don't want to deal with. Their outward status of success, so they can look extremely successful on the outside, have all kinds of awards, all kinds of promotions. It doesn't match their internal feelings about themselves. They don't feel like a success on the inside. Often they let opportunities pass because they think they will fail if they try, if they take up the opportunities. They quit something just as they are about to succeed. They have revenge as a way of living, and what that means for them is, you made me upset, so I'm going to hurt you by hurting me. I am going to hurt you by failing. So I'll get back at you by screwing up my life, and that'll make you really sad. Some, they try to frame all of this failure and going back to failure by saying, oh, I just rebel against all these goody-goody two-shoe people, these self-righteous people. I'm my own man. I'm going to do it my way. And so they try to frame it all as they're being a rebel against all these crazy people. So those are some of the characteristics of this failure life trap. I don't know how many of those applied to you. We looked at 27. If most of them did, this is a significant life trap for you.